welcome back to 25Drive Live. I am your host. My name is Alex Montañez, and we have a very special guest with us today. This is Brett Turner, and he is one of the key players for the Ogden Downtown Alliance, and also you're working with Farmers Market as well.
Yep.
Okay, so first of all, I want to welcome you to the show.
Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
Absolutely. And so let's talk about the Downtown Alliance, because I know there's been a lot of chatter as far as in the business community about your organization, but we want to kind of help our community and people that aren't necessarily in business understand who you guys are and what your entity is.
So the best way to explain it is to kind of go back a couple of years ago. You've been here. How long have you been downtown on 25th Street?
About almost 6 years ago.
Okay, so 6 years. About 3 years ago, you'll remember there was a big sort of kind of marketing push when the temple opening was happening. Lots of visitors were going to be coming to Ogden, some of which for the first time in, the last 30, 40 years, right, that they've been here because, every time a temple opens, a huge influx of people come. So it was kind of at that point where my business partner and I, Kim Bauscher, we represent the firm K-Bent, who's the managing partner of the Downtown Alliance.
Okay.
So our firm is the managing partner of the Downtown Alliance. We were hired by 25th Street Association to sort of do an assessment of the association.
And I am a member of the Historic 25th Street Association. Yeah. So we've been working together, and I've been working together with you off and on different projects for over the few years since we've been in Ogden.
Absolutely. And so one of the things that we recognized, especially when we would talk with you guys, one of the things that we did for that assessment was sit down with every business owner, talk to them, ask them some simple questions. What was it that brought you to Ogden? How was your experience in Ogden been? Why did you choose Ogden to start your business? And what is it that you need? Where is it that you see yourself in 5 years? And we heard a lot of the similar answers, which was a lot of things are happening in Ogden, and we don't really necessarily know what these other entities are doing. And what we realized is there was a lot of new things sort of coming up, right? Sort of happening. You have the Junction, you have the River Project, you have the Kiesel Project, you have the Trolley District with Imagine Jefferson going in. You have the airport, which is becoming kind of a bigger player, and getting some commercial flights coming in. You have Weaver State extending downtown and trying to reach more downtown. So you have all these things kind of going on. And you have each of these sort of entities that are doing their thing in these silos. And what our recommendation to 25th Street was back then was, wouldn't it be great if there was this umbrella organization, right? That you could still have your own entity and you could still talk about things that were important to you that you needed to do in your particular district. But wouldn't it be great if there was this bigger entity that sort of served as a resource for all of those groups collectively so that we could all be on the same page?
Well, let me ask you something, because I could see being a part of the Historic 25th Street Association, we had our group of businesses and owners on the street, and then, like you mentioned, the Junction was over here and other entities all over the place. So at first, when I first got to Historic 25th Street, it was like, it was all about us, all about Historic 25th Street. And as I started to become accustomed with all the neighbors and what Ogden City was doing, I kind of felt like, okay, we need to start talking. And so you guys saw this from afar or wherever, you were observing, and you saw that need for all of these pieces to come together. So, I mean, this wasn't accidental. It wasn't like just a cool idea. It was something that was a necessity, but you have to pull all these different players together.
Yeah, and I think that 3 years ago when we presented this recommendation, it wasn't ready either. There's a timing factor that was really important to this all. That I think the city needed to mature a little bit. I think some of these things needed to flesh themselves out a little bit, and some things needed to happen for sure for this to be able to take place. And I think it was the right time. The city just sort of launched a new branding campaign right around this time, recognizing the need to sort of, who are we? What's our story? Ogden, if you look in the news, they're racking up awards for all kinds of things. And do you just hang your hat on the fact that you're an outdoor town, that you're close proximity to the outdoors, that you're close proximity to the ski resorts? You know, if 10 years from now there are hotels and everything like that up in the valley, what makes it necessary for people to stay in Ogden, right? If that's what you're just marketing it as and stuff. And I think we all realize, you know, business owners and those of us that have been downtown, those of us that love downtown, those of us that live and work and play downtown, there's something special about this town that we are drawn to. We want to participate in. We want to be a part of it, and we want to tell that story to other people too. You know, as magnificent as 25th Street is, I don't know that there's a lot of people that would necessarily see an advertisement or hear about 25th Street and get on a plane and fly here just to go to 25th Street. Right. But there are a lot of other cool things that are happening within the downtown Ogden area. And that was the goal of the umbrella organization. What if we could sort of build this umbrella organization that promoted all of these things? And these pieces are key components in what make us who we are. But there's also all these other cool things that are here as well.
Well, you know, the whole reason why we have this podcast, 25Drive Live, is because we want to bring everything positive Ogden. And so the Ogden Downtown Alliance is one of those entities that is going to bring a lot of positivity here. But they're looking at it from a perspective of they're tying all these different pieces and all these different players together. But my question to you is, you know, how do we get, it's great to have businesses work together for the betterment of bringing more people downtown Ogden into Ogden in general. But how do we get the community excited about this, about the people that, let's say, are not business owners, you know, and how do we plug them in so that they're part of this whole process?
I think a couple of reasons, a couple of ways. One is, I think that there's a lot of people who may not hang out downtown quite a bit that don't necessarily realize all that it has to offer. Don't realize that, you know, there's biking and river and fishing and high quality restaurants that are some of the best in the state, all within, you could do all of them in an afternoon kind of thing, you know? And so I think educating people on what's there, and I also think, you know, part of what we're doing this year is doing a business assessment, right? There's 586 businesses in the Central Business District, and the boundaries for that are 17th Street, so the river basically to 28th, Wall to Adams, both sides. So in that little corridor, there's 586 businesses. So really recognizing what businesses are there and what is missing, right? What is missing that could benefit the community? What is missing that you know, if it was there, this would be a little bit more vibrant place to be. It would be, you know, a more enjoyable place to be, and identifying some of those things, and then developing strategy for how do we make that happen? How do we identify what those things are? How do we introduce Ogden to the people that could be here, you know? Or maybe somebody here could raise up
that doesn't have experience coming downtown.
Exactly.
You know, and we have, you know, certain people come from different parts, you know, Plain City, North Ogden, different areas, South Ogden even, that haven't been down to historic 25th Street for a long time, just because of the, you know, perception of how it used to be.
Right.
But I know that since for the, 5.5, almost 6 years that we've been down there, we've seen huge changes come into 25th Street, and all positive. It's been really awesome to see how Ogden City is investing and the communities coming together. You know, people like you, Kim Boucher, different folks coming together and bringing all these talents and these ideas and these fresh eyes, if you will, to this city that is, you know, really one of the most diverse cities in the state of Utah. And I hear that all the time. I hear that you know, there are so many different flavors in our community that really enhance what Ogden's all about. And so all of this stuff is really exciting, and you know, to bring it and start to put all this stuff together. So, you know, if I'm, let's say, you know, I'm just somebody from the community, and you were explaining it to me, I don't want to say layman's terms, but you're explaining it to me in something that I could understand. Not being a business owner, what are the positive things that would come from this organization that you're just describing?
Well, the biggest thing is, and kind of just backtracking on what you said a little bit about all the people that are here doing great things for this town. I think there's a certain sense in which all of us that are here, working here, and have businesses here feel like that this town is this beautiful place that I had this dream that I could make a reality. And the more I give to this town, the more it gives back to me, And in that exchange, it continues to motivate you to give more and to help other people, right?
Absolutely.
To give and help other people sort of reach their goals and support them and be resources for them. And so there's this really community spirit, right, in which I feel like everybody wants everybody to succeed. We really care about each other and want to look after each other in that way. And the goal is, I think, for the community, Ogden wants to be the cultural epicenter for Northern Utah, right? You don't need to go to Salt Lake. You don't need to go someplace else. You can come to Ogden. And that includes, having what you need by way of, restaurants and shopping, outdoor activities, family activities, festivals, concerts, etc. All of those things, we want to be the cultural epicenter of that. And so, the Downtown Alliance, really one of the biggest things we want to focus on is how do we bring vibrancy downtown? How do we support local businesses? Because I'm realizing that supporting local businesses is the things that are going to be able to give us the ability to bring some of those experiences here that we wouldn't otherwise be here because there'll be people here. But then also making it a place that, as a family of four or as a single person or as a young person or as a college kid, this is a place that you can come and get experiences that, you don't have to go someplace else to do it because it's right here,
So how long have you guys been in existence? When did you actually become Ogden Alliance or Downtown Alliance?
Officially, I believe it was the end of February, so super new.
Okay.
It's very, very new, yeah.
Now, you and Brett and I, and we've had meetings before where we've all gotten together. We got to go down to see their cool offices downtown, right on Washington Boulevard. What's the address of your office?
2562 Washington Boulevard.
And what's the name of the building?
It's called the Parlor.
The Parlor. So, they have their offices down there, and from what I understand, anybody can walk in, ask questions, find out a little bit more about the Downtown Alliance and what you guys are doing. So that's really great. These guys have an open door policy, and they're willing to share and listen, and they're super interested in everything. That people have. I don't want to say concerns, but interest in, because Downtown Ogden Alliance is just going to be this phenomenal thing. Now, we've also talked in previous meetings about all the moving parts. Mm-hmm. There's a ton of moving parts when you're dealing with how many businesses?
586.
586 businesses. So there's a ton of moving parts. And you've got Downtown Ogden Alliance willing to take this on. You're working closely with Ogden City, and how's the support from Ogden City for your company?
So we the structure of how it goes is we presented sort of this plan to Ogden City for the umbrella organization, and the Ogden Downtown Alliance would have a board that was made up of community stakeholders within this business district. And so we put that together, and the current board is sort of identifying those other existing stakeholders to become a part of that. And this first year is really wayfinding, just assessing what is there, really getting to know the business owners, finding out, again, just what are those needs. It's very assessment driven this first year. And so a lot of our time right now is just spent having these conversations, kind of educating people on why there was a felt need for this, and what this hopes to do. And the end all be all is that it hopes to be a resource to local businesses in whatever, especially to help bridge that gap between them and the city. So finding out what people are passionate about, whether it be lighting downtown, whether it be wayfinding signs, right? We all know where we're going when we drive downtown.
Right.
If you're coming into town, you may not know, and there's not a lot of signs, and some of those signs are hard to read, and the lighting's not good, and all that kind of stuff. So, helping those people, the people that care about that stuff, getting them together so that we can put together a concerted effort, build up a group of people that say, hey, we really care about this, we need something to happen. And then the Downtown Alliance, we can sort of do the work behind that. Because at the end of the day, you guys are business owners, you guys have employees, you guys have families, some of you guys have more than one business. It's really, really hard to sort of take on another project, right? Do a bunch of research, looking in places that you don't really know where to look and all that kind of stuff. Not saying that you can't do that, but it can take away from your business.
Well, I can tell you from experience of being on the Historic 25th Street Association. Those things take time, and sometimes when you're working a business, it's really difficult to to spend as much time as needed to do a quality, whatever it is that you're doing,
Sure.
Whether it's an event that you guys are putting on, or that we're putting on, like a, Harvest Moon, for example, is a really big event that we have down on the street on Historic 25th Street. But, when you're smaller businesses like us and you have, you're wearing many hats,
Right.
What your company does is brings almost like a sense of relief, to us, because first of all, knowing you personally and knowing your skill set and knowing Kim Boucher's skill set in marketing and so on and so forth, but also, you mentioned it just a few minutes ago of your passion for this, and to have an outside company come in and do all this kind of stuff, that's great, that's really great. But to have somebody that latches onto that, like when they were doing the branding and the
Right.
assessment of Ogden and who are we, all those kinds of things, to have somebody like people like your company come in and say, yeah, we have the passion too because we live here,
Right.
and we want to see this city succeed. Now, you did mention that you go into the businesses for these one-on-ones. Tell me what you're getting from that, and what's the person, if I'm the business owner, what am I getting from those one-on-one conversations?
Well, so we just did one today. We try to take field trips, company field trips. So there's sort of three of us that work together, Kim and I, and then we have an assistant. And we try to take field trips, plan a couple of them a week, to go to businesses that we're not really familiar with, maybe that we haven't visited before. And we're trying to accomplish a couple things. First of all, introduce ourselves and kind of who we are. Like you said, a lot of people are hearing a lot of stuff about what this is, and there's a lot of moving parts, and sometimes whenever there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of things can get miscommunicated, and so we want to be there. It would be great if we could answer everybody's question all at once, but we're all busy people these days, and that becomes difficult. And so we felt like it was really, really important for us to get out into the community, show our faces, instead of waiting for people to just come to us in our building and ask questions if they have questions. For us to really be proactive and going out, saying, what's your story? How did you end up here? Tell me about your experience. What would you do differently? What would you like to see? What are you passionate about? And really just kind of identifying those things in people for two reasons. Because we need everybody's support. The more we have everybody's buy-in, I think the better this is for everybody. And two, we can read your story on a website or a Facebook page, but it's far more impactful if we're standing right in front of you and you're telling us your story and you're pointing us things and showing us things about your life and your experience, and you're introducing us to your family and your coworkers and your business partners and all of that. You know what I mean? There's a way different feel to that, and it's that personal feel, it's that personal touch that we really want to have, because we want to share these stories, we want to tell these stories, we want to be an asset and a resource to you and your company and your employees, and help you do what it is that you're setting out to accomplish and those goals that you have. And it's just it might be old school, but I think person to person is really a great way to do business and a really great way to relationships.
What you're saying also just kind of brought an idea to my mind, because Ogden is we're known as a historical city. There's a historical relevance with the railroad, coming through Ogden, and that was a big part of our history. So and that's great because that's part of our identity. But also, what is, as we go into the future and as we look to the future, we hold on to the past a little bit because that is part of our identity,
Sure.
part of our DNA, if you will. How to me, it's really exciting to all of a sudden have all these new options. I don't want to say options, but new visions, I should say, of all these different things that Ogden is, And so for people that are outside of Ogden, okay, what is your goal? Let's say Salt Lake, Brigham, Logan, outlying areas. What is your goal of the perceptions that they currently have of Ogden and what we're trying to, how do we communicate it to them of it is something totally different, something totally cool?
Yeah, we've had this conversation a lot because it seems like outside of Utah, Ogden has a really stellar reputation as far as being a great place.
Outside of Utah?
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
A stellar place to live. It's constantly getting national recognition for being best place to start a business, best place to raise a family, best outdoor locations. There's all these different things that it's known for, and it seems to have it struggles with its reputation here. And honestly, in a lot of the business owners that I talk to, it's unfortunate, but the only real thing that you can say is I challenge whoever says anything about it to come check it out and really take an honest look at whether the perception that you have is accurate. Because for all of us that live here, for all of us that work here, we're not just blind, you know what I mean, and looking through rose-colored lenses. It truly is. I think what sets it apart from anywhere in the world that I can think of, it is literally a place that you can come here with an idea, and if you work hard and you give to the city and to your idea, amazing things can happen and you can become successful.
And you know what, I agree with you 100% because a lot of the people that are in my circles of business owners, small business owners, they do exactly that. They've had this idea, they work hard, they roll up their sleeves, they get in there and they do it, and and they succeed. Sometimes it's really hard. Sometimes it doesn't come as fast as you'd like it to. I know I'd like to succeed literally overnight,
Right.
but we know that doesn't happen. However, the community here is really great because I'm always like in my newsletters, I'll send out thank yous just to the community because of the way that they support local businesses, the way they support the people in Ogden. And you're right, you mentioned that the community is a tight-knit community, and I agree wholeheartedly. We started our business in Layton City, and I just always wanted to come back. I was born and raised right here in Ogden, and I always wanted to come back to Ogden and give back to the city. And so historic 25th Street was the perfect place for us to open our business. And but it's great because there's so much cooperation. We even have Facebook pages that are business oriented. It's not just Rovelli's Restaurante's Facebook page. It is a business page where we exchange ideas and concerns and all that kind of stuff. And so the community becomes really tight. Not only that, but I like the way that the community comes out to support all the events and stuff that we have, because our events, I'm telling you, they're just great. They have great outcomes. They have a lot of people come, and they always are successful. They're very successful, and so that tells you that it's a very tight community as well.
Yeah, and you have, one of the things about events is all the events that, I think what you're referring to, a couple of the big ones are, you have the Harvest Moon celebration, which was, this will be the 15th year anniversary of it. It was started, when it first started, it wasn't the whole street. It just happened. It was thrown together in a couple of weeks by a couple of local business owners who just had a passion of, what the street needs is a little more vibrancy, a little, some people hanging out, some live music going on, just where people can kind of let loose and enjoy their family and enjoy the day. And 15 years later, it's become one of the biggest festivals in northern Utah.
Yeah, exactly.
And, again, started by a couple of business owners who were passionate about.
Who had a vision and
Who had a
idea.
vision.
Yeah.
You know, the other thing that's, you know, super exciting this year for Ogden Downtown is the Ogden Twilight, second anniversary of Ogden Twilight, right? Again, business owner.
That, I'll tell you what, though, that event last year was huge.
Yeah.
You know, for the first year, holy smokes, the talent that was brought, you know, the venue is perfect.
Yeah.
For downtown Ogden. The Ogden Amphitheater is just a perfect venue. It's beautiful, the gardens, everything there. It has everything.
Yeah.
And you're in the stone throw away from the best restaurants, some of the best restaurants in Ogden. And so, but I know that the numbers of people that bought tickets and that attended that event. Now that was for an entire week. Is that correct?
So it was 4 weeks last year was what it was. This year is going to be 5, starting in June 2nd through June 30th. The lineup is fantastic. You can go check it out at ogdentwilight.com. Tickets are super reasonable, $5 to get in.
$5. It's a deal.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Some great bands that are coming through here, and like you said, the venue is fantastic, and that whole thing, you know, just came from business owners, you know, specifically Jared Allen. They said, we have this great venue, right, that we're not utilizing. Wouldn't it be cool if we did this? And I'm going to do that, and you know, started working on it, and got support from the city, got support from the local business owners, you know, and it's fantastic. Ogden Restaurant Week, which we just had, another thing where businesses partnering together. You can testify to that.
Yeah, we had 24 or 25 business restaurants that participated in that. Extremely successful, lots of fun. And what was really cool too is we had, I would host every Friday and Saturday night. And you know me, I welcome everybody personally that comes into Rural Valleys. But I was asking them, I said, you know, have you been with us before? And I would venture to guess that 80% of the guests that came into Rural Valleys during Ogden Restaurant Week were first timers.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just so thrilled about that, you know, because and a number of them were from Salt Lake. They would catch the front runner down, drops them right off, you know, half a block, not even a half block away. And they walk right up 25th Street. But the cool thing was that really excited me was all the first timers, all the folks from outside of the Ogden area, as well as all, you know, our local community. They all supported it very, very well. But it was just cool because the marketing strategy and the efforts of getting it out there on social media and bringing all these folks in. And it was cool because the folks that were from out of town and they tried restaurants that they'd never even tried before, they tried more than one.
Yeah.
You know, so they came back. Yeah. And so that is just such a successful event.